Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call halal Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Hashem, Kakwadash. Of course, double honors go out to the apostles and elders, great millstone, who continue through the Holy Spirit to give us His truth, knowledge, and the Holy Spirit, of course, provided the understanding. All right. Let me go straight to the scripture. This is going to be Proverbs 4. Because you need the whole package. You can't just read. You hear a lot of Christians say, well, I read the Bible from front to back, from Genesis to Revelation, and still don't understand a damn thing. All right. This heading here says a father's instruction. All right. And it says, verse 7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all that getting, get understanding. All right, so we got that out the way. What I wanted to do, ran across this video here. This is from last month, and it's entitled African Americans and Africans are not one. All right, and they put the emphasis on not, and we keep trying to tell you, all right, that we're not the same people. The people that were brought over here in bondage are not the same as Hamites. All right, now what they're getting into here is more or less cultural differences, but you they go far enough where you get the hint. All right, and out of the three, you have one that was Ghanaian, but she was raised in America, and you have the other two, I believe, by way of England. All right, and then you have what, the lone sore thumb, the American black woman. All right, I just want you to pay attention. All right. It's kind of funny and sad at the same time, but this is more reason for you to understand what we're trying to say. Nobody likes us. All right. And you have to understand also that this devil has gone out of his way to make sure no one likes us. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and roll this footage. I'm going to try and let this run for like 12 and a half minutes because I want to get the full. I'm not gonna show it all because it's just under an hour. All right, so here we go.
If you are not married at a certain age in Ghana or Africa, it's an issue.
Sure, it's like you're expired.
Do Africans and African Americans believe that we are one?
Now that I'm here in Ghana, it's been made very clear.
Look how they're looking at
ourselves as one people, and we never have, and we never will.
Imperial Homes Ghana and Great Britain has carved a niche for itself within the real estate industry.
For you
as the premier
people out there always say, well, we're all black. No, it goes much deeper than that. All right. So lucky for the commercial, but
to its clients and customers.
Let's see if I can
All our
skip ahead.
homes meet the lifetime home standard, as well as the highest standards of
Yeah.
It's a network for everyone in the diaspora to join. Any issues you have with GRA, Ghana's Registrar's Office, Lands Commission, they are here to help support.
See, and this is another thing our people have to get over. All right, when they're always talking about diaspora, all right, that only applies or should apply to us. And that's why we're trying to tell you the people that were sold by the Hamites, all right, the ones that are actually so-called Africans, All right, when you go deeper than that, you understand that nobody is an African in that continent because that is the surname of a so-called white man. All right, but Hamites sold Israelites. That's all you need to know. Two different peoples, two different bloodlines. Go back to Genesis 10th chapter. Again, for those that read the Bible, but you still have all this confusion. What I say about understanding. All right, so that diaspora, everybody gets, they think that involves all so-called Africans. It doesn't. So we got to get over that shit. All right.
Support and also guide you through it all. So click the link and sign up and join today.
The Green Lounge is based in Tema, and we are talking about the diaspora, and I'm joined by 3 different women from different backgrounds. Carlia from the USA, she was into IT, but in Ghana, she's cooking. She's doing vegan foods. You're a chef now.
I am.
Selena here, she is a historian. When I tell you the amount of history that she fills me up with, Denta, did you know this? I'm like, oh my goodness. Slow down, calm down. She's so passionate about what she does. Thank you for joining me on the show. And I have Vanessa Jan, who is the daughter of Kiki Jan, who was in Osibisa. If you know the group Osibisa, then you will definitely know Kiki Jan. And you came from the US, and 2 UK people repping, okay, with the ones repping here. But I feel like there's a lot more African Americans coming to Ghana than UK. Do you see that since you've been here?
Yeah, and this is the Barack Obama campaign when he was, in the 8 years, and Americans really coming into understanding what it meant to be African. Because remember, Barack Obama, he's not an African American. His father is African. So it's looking at what does that mean for somebody who now controls the country.
He made that distinction himself in one of his speeches.
So it was looking at, the history behind the movement, because over 400 years,
and
celebrating the diaspora growing through the transatlantic.
Michelle's people,
what
or
does that mean for those of us who
the
look
jury's still out on that.
black?
I'll leave
What
that
does
alone.
blackness look like? How do we now harness that energy?
You see, this woman, she's delved into the history already. But okay, so let's start with, do Africans and African Americans believe that we are one?
I feel like we are, but as a whole, the answer is no.
I share sentiments with Vanessa. I definitely think we're the same, and it's because I'm coming from a place where we experience and consistently deal with racism. So when I see you, I see me. I don't care, I don't even bother to ask where you're from. I see you, I see me. But now that
Why?
I'm here in Ghana, it's been
Look
made
at the
very
look.
clear, right? Even not just differences amongst Ghanaians and Americans, African Americans, but even Ghanaians and Nigerians. I hear often Native Africans even making differences between themselves. So I think we need to do better with looking at ourselves as the same.
Has history made us not love each other as black people? Why is it that somebody from Nigeria may not want to work with somebody in Ghana, or somebody in Ivory Coast not want to work with somebody in Togo? What has happened that has created that barrier against each other? I'll start with Mademoiselle Selena, the history woman.
We don't see ourselves as one people, and we never have, and we never will. When we look through history, we have this title black, but that title was gifted to us. All the titles we have been gifted. The titles that haven't been gifted are tribal titles, nation titles, titles that tie us back to land, community, and identity. When we look at black culture is jerk chicken, it's jazz, it's salsa, it's capoeira. This is an amalgamation of cultures that have an infusion of direct African influence, and then those of us who were taken.
What we've been trying to tell you people for the
Black
longest.
isn't one thing. It never has been. When
Our food is in, by the way, we ordered food. We pre-ordered our food.
Black.
And the food is in. When you come to Ghana, you're usually ready to eat the wache, the fufu and all that. And sometimes you may be missing some continental dishes, you know, dishes that you used to have back home in America or the UK. And I would suggest that you come to the Greens, because sometimes you miss the burger and chips. you miss certain foods, and so I would recommend that you come here. But back to history. Back to history, Selena.
But the same with food, you know, we're continental eaters. See, I'm from England, we're from England, America. So we've got, you know, the Italian infusion in America, pasta, pizza. It's not African. And it's not because it's not African, that's not what it is. It's just culturally different. So people in Italy, you know, they had more wheat, so they made flour, and they had to manipulate, you know, what they had, what they could do with it. Same like here, we have rice, tomatoes, we've got all kinds of different foods, and we create a variety of different foods that is influenced all over the world. Chicken is something that most communities do, but only Jamaica has jerk chicken. Why is that?
Notice the look of the
culture. And when we
American
talk about
black
blackness,
woman, just
for
like
me, with the history that we're learning and we're developing and teaching our children
lost,
about
just
culture, how do we identify it?
just
culturally?
there.
Because we all have different melanin composites. You know, some of us are lighter, darker. That's based on our
Nobody
ancestry.
likes you.
How do we now still hold on to black to identify us universally when we're talking about culture, language, spirituality, religion, history, you know, and we're looking at how we come together on common grounds to be able to have respect for each other based on where we're coming from.
Awesome.
Those lamb chops look juicy.
That's why I ordered the lamb chops. This is why I ordered the lamb chops, because the lamb chops
Looks
here.
wonderful, chef. Thank you.
Thank you so
Real
much. With the Green
food.
Lounge, you don't get the waitress serving you, you get the chef.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Chef. So the food is here. We've got burger, we've got lamb chops, we've got prawns. Looks really good. Well, I want to go back to our question. Food looks good, but we need to
Damn,
still
I'm
have a
hungry.
conversation. Are we one?
If we classified ourselves as one, we would have to take away all of those cultural identities. We'd have to work out one language, one, you know, means of communication, one form of dress, one form of dance, you know, but we're not one thing.
Okay.
But that connection to the mother country is a oneness that
Let me stop it right there. Okay, I didn't make it. I made a little bit past halfway. All right, sorry. Something else we've tried to tell you. The continent of Africa is just that, a continent. All right, it's many nations. All right. So for all you, you know, black unconscious people, all right, you talk to us about proving stuff, but here you go to your enemy for some kind of test that he manipulates. You know, so you get a test, a genealogy test telling you from Nigeria, you mix with this and that's and that. And you people are idiots because you pay all this money for, you know, again, going to your enemy for him to tell you some bull and sell you to some bullshit. All right, this is spiritual as much as anything. Continuing on.
we are now looking at the variety of how we have expanded on our cultures and on our own identities to be able to come together, to be able to reinforce what that history, what the present and what the future can go on to look like, looking at the source of where we have started from.
Okay. Leading from what Selena is saying, do you believe that we're one? Coming from, as an indigenous Ghanaian, living in America for so long, did you feel that oneness
Watch
when
this.
you came
She's going
to Ghana?
I
separate
did.
herself.
I always, and I think it's even telling of how we describe each other. Let's say African Americans describe Africans, or Africans describe African Americans. I am Ghanaian blood. I wasn't born here. I wasn't raised here, but I am Ghanaian. But moving back, I felt like I'm not Ghanaian. I'll go into
Even though
spaces
she's an
and it's
Israelite,
always,
but just,
oh,
I
American
ain't gonna say
girl.
nothing.
Oh, American this. Oh, and it's like, but I'm Ghanaian, you know? Which is hurtful because it makes me feel like I should have been back sooner. Maybe I should have researched more. I don't know, gone and dived more into my culture. But at the same time, it's always about growth, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I still get it till today. Even the whole, oh, Brony, you're not Brony, you're not Ghanaian, you know? Or even when I'm eating fufu, people are surprised that I like fufu. And I'm just like, I can eat fufu 7 days a week. Like, I love, one thing is that my mom did not take the culture away from us, you know? So all the food, speaking tree, understanding tree. It's all in me. You know, it's just that I wasn't here. So my answer is, I think we are, but many others don't think we are. And that's from how my example of my personal treatment returning back 8 years ago. Yes.
So Denta, you know, coming from the U.S., I refer to myself as an African born in America.
I like
Like that.
I didn't have a particular country or land or tribe, if you will, to tie myself to.
So like, I'm just at the looks.
I did do a DNA later,
Okay.
but I do want to just point out that for most African Americans who are interested in our background, we take on all Africa as a whole, right? And please understand, I know that Africa is a continent and not a country, but to be able to pick and choose different cultural things, I think that's awesome that we've been able to do as African Americans. But also, it's looked down upon because we truly don't just know who we really are, who we really belong to. So just to answer your question, I definitely think we're the same. If we were all in the
What
U.S.,
makes you
the
think
police
that?
would stop us all. They wouldn't ask if I was Jamaican or Ghanaian or Nigerian, right? So that's something I do try to share with a lot of Ghanaians here that I interact with. I tell them, hey, we're not going to practice colonialism.
But for the most part, they know the difference. All right. Trust me on that.
Or white supremacy up in here. And I explained to them that, you know, the Berlin Conference designated these lines here. So the person you're maybe frowning your face at could possibly be your cousin. So overall, no, I don't think we don't consider ourselves the same, but we absolutely should.
How was the cultural shock moving from the US? You are into IT
Yes.
in the US.
Yes.
And you gave that up.
I did.
Why did you give up everything to come and settle in Ghana?
Well, I think in the U.S. they sell us this false sense of freedom and this false sense of security. And we make all this money, but you're always at work. And you're there to pay off all of your debt. One thing that was a major culture shock coming here, people will tell you Africa is poor. Africa ain't poor. Ghana is a cash society. If you don't have no cash, you can't pass. So in the U.S., you can function and live on the high horse with credit, but the minute you lose your employment or something like that, you fall. So we have this false sense of security, false sense of freedom. Now that I've been here in Ghana, I really, truly believe, or I feel like I'm experiencing true freedom. No one.
All right. She don't know what true freedom is. All right. Granted, things are a little different there, but trust me, there's these Edomites run this world. All right. That when they go down, that will be freedom. All right. When Yahushua, when he gets the go ahead, he comes and takes this devil out of power, then you'll feel those chains and shackles just fall off. All right. And that's for the ones who make it, granted. All right. But I hope you all enjoyed that. That highlights also. And I've been overseas and I've gotten a little of that relief. All right. You know, people don't quite look at you the same, especially where I was. And it's sort of intoxicating, but that's an example also of the stress that you are purposely put under here as a so-called black man, as an Israelite. All right, this highlights even more. Let me go. Again, this is constant stress. This is not good for life, man. This is Daniel 9. This is Daniel's prayer for his people. Daniel was an Israelite, was he not? So this is not for everybody. And as such, the scripture I'm about to read, all the things that we go through as a people here, all right, this is also, when you consider the curses, this highlights, this points to us, nobody else, all right. This is Daniel 9 and 12, and says, and he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us by bringing upon us a great evil. All right. It's a great evil that came upon us and brought us over here. All right. Now there was it was called a triangular, because you had what? You had the Hamites that went and gathered us up. You had the Ishmaelites, them dirty, stinking Arabs that built the boats and everything, and they were responsible too, because you had an Arab slave trade earlier. All right. And then you had the Amalekite in particular, all right, a tribe of the nation of Edom who paid for it. All right. And then they then think about how this happened and why. This highlights also that we were targeted. You had a specific group of people that were targeted by Amalek, knowing who we were, having us in subjection. Therefore, what better way to keep an eye on us as he pretends to be us? Think about that. To this day. Let me read this again. Daniel 9 and 12 says, and he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us by bringing upon us a great evil. Edom. You can mainly Edom, but you can put the rest of those that I just mentioned, Ham and Ishmael, in that also. But primarily we're talking about Edom, the so-called white man. For under the whole heaven hath not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem. Point blank, period. And when you go to the curses in Deuteronomy 28, all right, that's just one chapter, but the whole Bible identifies us. All right, when you put everything together. All right, from Genesis to Malachi, and then the Apocrypha. They took that out because that bridges the gap between Malachi and Matthew. That explains how we as a people under the Greeks, how we became Hellenized. All right, we became, as they put in it, that's why they don't put the word Helen in there, because Helen lets you know that that's talking about Greek-speaking Jews. It's not talking about the other nations. All right, so when you read this, I'm talking about the Bible, you have to pray for understanding, because a lot of people read this from cover to cover and they never understand. They can't even break down Genesis first chapter correctly. All right. So yes, they took these things out because of that. The Apocrypha points fingers. It names names. They took it out so they can run this game, especially the Northern Kingdom. Oh my goodness. Talking about Mary and all this other crap, which came of the during the Constantine rule. All right. Putting all these heathen customs, mixing it with, which will become Christianity. All right. Which has nothing, by the way, to do with the actual scriptures. We keep trying to tell you that. You have to go into the other languages. You have to go into the Hebrew. Not necessarily speak it fluently, but you have to have a working knowledge of both Hebrew and in the New Testament Greek. All right. Otherwise, you're just lazy, and as a result, you have what we have now in these churches. Zombies. All right, once again, Daniel 9:12 says, and he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil, for under the whole heaven hath not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem. All right, and that whole Holocaust bullshit served as a distraction. All right, because before that happened, let me see. I keep bringing this up too. A lot of people are unaware. That's why when you bring up, or if you've ever seen the movie Dead Presidents, it's YouTube, so I can. When you watch that, there's that, I believe it's the scene where they, this Edomite, this white boy, I guess he goes to take a leak, and the Viet Cong get a hold of him, and they castrate him, put his shit in his mouth, and they leave a note. I believe that's the scene. And the note says, black man, go home. This is not your war. All right.
When you come in for our coffee, you don't just leave with better mornings.
You leave supporting brighter futures and bigger dreams.
Supporting family
Salaki,
business.
I apologize. I did not
Girls
know.
with curls.
How the hell did I turn it off?
And working moms.
When you shop black owned,
Mexican American owned,
Korean and
Can't even.
You leave
What the hell is going
with
on?
change in your hands.
What the hell? Hopefully that mutes it. But anyway, let's read a little bit of this. It says Ho Chi Minh, and I'm bringing this up for a reason, all right? Because it shouldn't go trying to give you a reason for the Holocaust, all right? It says Ho Chi Minh was born Nguyen Sinh Kong, I guess that's how you say it, on May 19, 1890. Much of Ho's early life has been filled exaggerated facts, but what is known is that he began traveling the world and studying different cultures around 1911. In 1912, Ho arrived in America's shores and began living between Boston and Harlem. According to his personal but often challenged account, it was customary for revolutionary leaders to exaggerate facts to add to their mystique. During the time Ho was in Harlem, he was said to have attended several meetings and lectures by the UNIA leader and Pan-Africanist Marcus Garvey. All right, Garvey's words may have influenced him. In 1924, Ho published a pamphlet titled The Black Race, translated from French, which detailed the conditions and horrors African Americans faced under the false democracy of America. Did you hear that? In the essay he wrote, it is well known that the black race is the most oppressed. Again, we're not black, but let's just roll with it. Is the most oppressed and the most exploited of the human family. It is well known that the spread of capitalism and the discovery of the New World had as an immediate result the rebirth of slavery. Again, slavery did not end in 1865. It just changed suits, so to speak. What everyone does not perhaps know is that after 65 years of so-called emancipation, remember this is coming from Ho Chi Minh, American Negroes still endure atrocious moral and material sufferings, of which the most cruel and horrible is the custom of lynching. Now, they're trying to dismiss this as something being exaggerated. And he goes on after returning to French ruled Vietnam. God dang it. Let me hurry up. Ho helped lead militant forces in a fight for independence. All right, declaring victory.
You come in for our coffee.
Goodness.
You don't
In
just
1945, I do apologize. I don't know how to turn this off.
And bigger dreams.
supporting family business.
Where is this?
Girls with curls. and working moms.
When you shop
Okay. Whew. The water. Salakia. Oh boy. Anyway, and the Paris declared victory in 1945. And I have a book right after. It says Ho would later surrender to the French in exchange for the northern portion of the country, which was renamed the Democratic Republic of Vietnam, because in '54 the French invaded and they got their asses kicked, and that would eventually lead to America going in, of course, incognito, all right, earlier than what a lot of people knew. They were there early. But I'm trying to remember. I done lost my train of thought. Oh, see, he had vested interest because, again, got to know your history here, all right? And this is just something I just happened to get into. When you look at the history of Vietnam, that particular book I'd mentioned, it highlighted the fact that, oh man, the French are the ones that screwed that country up. Let's see, how am I going to do this? The French, what was the year? 1885. Let's see, how am I going to tell it? Now, whoops. 1885. Let's see. I didn't mean to take this long, Salakia. But it was a sad story in this, and that there were these two brothers. And this is what started the animosity, because they pitted the brothers against each other, and one had to go on the run. He was the leader at the time, but the French put this puppet, his brother, propped him up. And ever since then there had been this, so there is a history here. Just like, you know, this is the so-called white man's, this is his, the nation of Edom in the Bible, this is his MO. This is what he does. He fucks up everything. But another thing these women mentioned was the Berlin Conference, that same era. This is of 1884 and 1885, which divided a lot of the continent of Africa up. All right. And as a result, you had with the Congo, you had King Leopold II of Belgium. And he, I believe it was around 10 million of them he killed and maimed. All right. It's a whole lot of blood and misery here. This so-called, these Edomites got to go. And thankfully what's happening now, if you're paying attention, they're losing their grip on power. They know this. This is why you have COVID and all this other shit going on. All right. This is very mild compared to what's coming now. All right. But yeah, this devil, man. It says right here, just you can put this in the description box in case you didn't know about the Berlin Conference. This is known as the Berlin Conference. They sought to discuss the partitioning of Africa, establishing rules to amicably divide resources among the Western countries at the expense of the African people. Of these 14 nations at the Berlin Conference, France, Germany, Great Britain, Portugal, notably missing were any representatives from Africa. Shows you just outright lack of respect. All right. Just come in there and divide and take shit. But again, This is the so-called white man's MO. So with that, man, I went way over, but of course, the main discussion was of African Americans, and Africans are not one. This is something we continually try to beat into you Israelites' head. You are not, or were you ever, Africans, Hamites. All right, you are Shemites. Read Genesis 10th chapter, please. So with that, call hello Yahweh, Shem Yahushua, Shem Kokodash, and of course, once again, double honor scholars, the apostles and elders, great millstone, who continue through the Holy Spirit, all right, to give us His truth, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which, that's something you have to pray for, all right. Of course, salutations also to the other Akim out there, scattered through the four corners, pushing this truth and knowledge with all truth and sincerity. So with that, shalom, shalom.